Okay, so time for, as somebody told me the other day, the Property Entrepreneur podcast is home of the game changers, or home of the game changing blueprints, I think they said. So I've got another one for you today. And what we're going to talk about today is the bat phone blueprint. So this is something that I've been in the same way on Property Entrepreneur for the last 8 years. I've been banging on about how property entrepreneurs need to be making sure they're getting VAs, PAs, EAs around them to help them do what they do. This is probably my new obsession of saying to people, you've got to do this, you've got to do this. I always use Josh as an example of this. So apologies, Josh, that I keep wheeling you out. But when I said about getting a PA, he must have ignored my advice for 3 or 4 years on the trot. And then when he got a PA, obviously it was what we call a game changer. It's actually a life changer. And he can't imagine living without a PA now, and really can't believe that he used to do some of the things he used to do when he should have been doing high value tasks, working on the business and having a team around him doing all of the day to day. This is the next one of those. The bat phone blueprint, I call it the bat phone sort of half jokingly, is when you get to a point in your journey, and this won't be everyone to start off with. In the early days, it is life and death. It's 7 days a week. Entrepreneurship is literally, there's no line at all between work and play. For those of you that are perhaps a bit more developed in your businesses and a little bit more progressed in your entrepreneurial journeys, you're going to get to a point where the novelty of people having access to you 7 days a week is going to wear off, and having work problems, challenges, even just messages and emails interfering with weekends, holidays, birthdays, family dues, the novelty is going to wear off of that pretty quick. Most entrepreneurs get to a point where the exciting sort of early years start to wear off, and you get to a point where for years you've never really had a break. Work might become a bit of a slog. You know, it feels like you're never getting away from it. It's part of your life. Maybe your personal life's now starting to suffer. It's having an impact on your relationships. And you're going to get to a point where you want to actually, you're just sick of dealing with work 7 days a week, all hours of the day. The good thing is, when you get to that point and you've done the heavy lifting, you've gone all guns blazing and you've done everything you need to do in the early months and years probably more likely, there's an opportunity for you to master the art of playing the game. And when you put this into place, I guarantee you, the necessity for you to be available all day, every day becomes less of a necessity. And when you put this bat phone blueprint into practice, I guarantee it will enable you to become, it will bring back the fun and the excitement of being in business and being an entrepreneur and having a team and running a company. It will make you a better team member, leader, manager at home. It will make you a more present partner, mother, father, just socially, personally, and professionally. It will add value to everything that you're doing, and also it'll give you that. One of the things I've learned recently is it's really important to have that. In the early days of entrepreneurship, everything's exciting, it's fun. You go to bed and you just can't wait to get up. It is hard as things progress to maintain that excitement. The good thing is, when you learn how to play the game at the next level using things like the bat phone blueprint, it can bring back that novelty, that excitement, and it'll bring back the novelty and stop work from becoming a normality when it's in your face, on your desk, on your phone, in your mind, 7 days a week. I hope, before we go into this, I hope you're all having a great start to the year. It's now approaching the end of February. The seasons are turning very quickly, and we're already going to be heading into spring before we know it. I hope you're making the most of your winter hit lists. If you didn't listen to my year of podcast episode, recommend going back and having a listen. That's one of the ones I've had a lot of messages recently about people, specifically people who don't know Property Entrepreneur, who've never heard of the concept of having a year of. So if you haven't listened to that and you don't understand the concept of a year of, go and have a listen to it. But my year of so far is going really, really well. So I've really enjoyed it. The last couple of weeks, I would say, have been the best couple of weeks I've had in business for a long time. That is mainly strategically down to the year of getting back in the business, getting excited, getting engaged. Whereas last year I was pulling myself back from it. Can genuinely say that 3 or 4 times a week, I'm going to bed thinking, do you know what? I'm really excited to get up tomorrow. That's a combination of doing exciting things, being in my flow, focusing on the stuff that I enjoy. Also probably increasing my workload a bit. Last year was reasonably light, whereas I've realised I do like to be busy. And they say the devil makes work for idle thumbs. I think it's the same for a busy mind. Like, I'm better when I'm always got stuff going on. I'm back to back to back, not stressed, not overcooking it. And that's always the danger. But just being every day, just being full on, going to bed thinking, wow, do you know what? That was a big day. It was a great day. It was a fun day. It moved things forward. But obviously, we've got to keep an eye out for burnout. And then also, I'd say a lot for rhythm and routine. Like, we talk a lot on Property Entrepreneur about the importance of having a rhythm and routine in your business, annual, quarterly, monthly, weekly, SCSs, QGMs, AGMs, strategy days. Really important to have that that rhythm and predictability to the business. And I think it's the same in our lives. Like, I moved all of you probably heard me talk about it previously, moved all my gym sessions to the same time each day. And I've just got a real nice rhythm to my week now. And my partner's actually been away for the week, and I've been looking after the dogs for the first time probably ever. And just putting a rhythm into their day where the walks at the same time, the food's at the same time, because my days are real militant, fitting them into that. I've noticed it's had a lot of benefit from them as well. They're a lot more chilled. They're a lot more easy to get on with. They know what's happening and when it's happening. And it's not a coincidence. It works for people, it works for businesses, it works for teams, it works for 2 sausage dogs that are an absolute nightmare. So everything's coming together. And then this is probably I'm in my home studio at the moment. This is the penultimate podcast I suspect I'll be recording here. And then we're leveling up. We're going into a brand new video podcast studio, which has just finished being built. And we're going to be leveling up. You'll see it on social media, YouTube. And the aim of the game is to really break through into that next level. So we can only do that with these blueprints. Hopefully this one's a game changer for you. And as we go into the 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏 blueprint, my sort of promise and guarantee to you is that if you put this into place, everything will just become more fun. You'll be a better worker, a better manager, better person at home, and it'll be really good. I remember when I was where you are now, so it's probably a year ago, probably 12 months ago. And now that I look back, I can't believe that I did it for so long, having just one phone. And it was a limiting belief. I thought that I had to be available all day, every day, 7 days a week. That was my limiting belief. Now on the other side of it, we talk about challenge your assumptions and challenge your perceptions, because most of them are wrong and they're holding you back. When I really challenged this one and went through the 3 phases, which I'm going to tell you about, to come out the other side, now I'm out the other side. I can't imagine life being any different. And the concept of having work messages. I mean, I haven't had email on my phone for years. I don't think, email isn't an instant messaging platform. So unless that's specifically part of your job role, you are an EA, customer services, a PA, unless that's part of your roles and responsibilities as a MD or a entrepreneur or an investor, business owner, there's arguments that, is having things like that a good use on your phone. And I remember someone saying to me once, nothing good ever came from opening your email inbox in the evening and weekend. That's just the way that it is. And now that I've got this in place, I can't believe I ever had it any other way. And what I hope for from this blueprint over the next 10 minutes or so, the next 6 steps, is that you achieve exactly the same. But it's not going to be easy. It never is. So what you need is we're going to go to have, when I talk about the bat phone, what I'm talking about really is a private phone. Private phone, nobody has the number, and it's your personal life, it's your private life. Only your nearest and dearest have access to it. It's the bat phone. Outside of that is your work phone. So what you're going to need is you're going to need a personal phone, you're going to need a work phone, and this isn't a case of just buying it and then job done. You also need a plan. And having done this and also worked with the board members to go through it, success and failure are very predictable. And of course, there's 3 phases, there's 6 steps, and there's a blueprint that can enable you to do the same based on what I've learned over the last 12 months and then talk to other people. So at the minute, if you only got one phone and you're doing work 7 days a week, that's hell. Where we're going to get you to is a place where it's more fun. It's a lot cleaner. You're better at work. You're better when you play. And that's going to be the heaven. but there is, of course, somewhat of a ride in between. And this is the 6 steps of the Bat phone blueprint. So the first step is you want to set up a private mobile phone. So it's important to do it this way around. So a private mobile phone, you've probably got 1,000 contacts in your work phone. There's no point trying to now make this a personal phone and then getting a new one for work. Buy yourself a new, or get yourself a new private line, which nobody from day one has access to. And then you can one by one, which we'll talk about, filter the people onto that phone that you want to have that number. So we need to get you a private phone, the Bat phone. This is going to be your personal number that nobody at work is going to have, or maybe one person will. We'll talk about that. There's 2 ways to do this. Now, I'm old school and I have limited impulse control, so I choose to have 2 handsets. So in front of me, I have my private phone and I have my work phone. They're on 2 completely different contracts, both on O2. My work phone is probably about 3 years old. My private phone is probably about 1.5 years old, and they look quite different. They've got slightly different cases. They've got different screensavers on, and I just set them up so I know immediately which one is which. You don't have to have 2 handsets. You can just have 1 handset. And instead what you do is you get either 2 SIM cards. So you can get some handsets that will put 2 physical SIM cards inside, like a dual SIM phone, or you can get a virtual SIM card. So some phone operators will allow you to have a virtual SIM card. Now, if you like to travel light, you're highly disciplined, and you can have both WhatsApps, both phones, both numbers on the same handset, absolutely go for that. It's probably easier. It's probably, I don't know, probably cheaper. I personally prefer to have 2 phones. I can then, on the, if you have dual SIM, you can digitally turn off one of the SIM cards. I just prefer Friday afternoon, turn my physical phone off, put it in the top drawer, and then it doesn't come out again till Monday. So personal preference, whichever of those best suits you, that's step 1. Get yourself a new private phone, or a new private SIM card, or a new private number. The second is, what we want to do is set up the basic on the 2 phones. So the easiest quick win, I suspect, for most people, assuming you use WhatsApp for communication, will be on your Bat phone, on your private phone. Get that private phone and download WhatsApp and make that your primary WhatsApp. So that's your now personal private WhatsApp. You can put a different photo on. So I've got a different photo on my private WhatsApp. I've got a different title on it. It's personal WhatsApp. And then on the business phone, which is the phone you've been using for forever, go into your WhatsApp. And then what you want to do is download WhatsApp for Business. And what this will do is, again, it's just another line of differentiation between the phones. You've got one WhatsApp for business on your business phone, and then one for personal. On your business WhatsApp, you can put opening times, so availability times. Mine say Tuesday to Thursday, 10 till 2. They're my sort of broad times when I'm always available. And then you can put other information on there: emergency contacts, website details, head office numbers, out of hours numbers, any information people might need when, for the first time in 2 years, 5 years, 20 years, you're not available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So we're going to set that up, set WhatsApp Business up, put all of the emergency contacts, the website details, the 24-hour phone number on there, and then that makes you a bit more formal. Is a business. You know, if you were running a big multinational corporate, there would be times you're open and times you're closed. We're going to do exactly the same for your business, whatever the size it is, using your WhatsApp Business on your phone. The third is, this is where the sort of planning comes in. Like, nobody likes change, and it's going to take some getting used to going through this process. However, there's other people going to be involved. You know, people are going to be expecting the fact, you know, people are used to, you know, managing people's expectations. They're used to messaging you on a Saturday afternoon and getting a response on a Saturday night or a Sunday morning. What you're going to need to do is you want to choose a date where, from that date, the work phone is going off. So whatever times you decide, it might be a good rule of thumb that a friend of mine used to use was from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m, the work phone was off. It was off. It was in the drawer. He was with the family, with the missus, and he was in his personal life. 8 a.m, he would pick his phone up and he would get back at it. Whatever those rules are going to be, what we need to do is confirm a date from which time that's going to happen. We're going to decide what the availability times are. So you're from 5 o'clock Friday, or whatever time you decide, 6 o'clock Thursday, whatever time you decide, your phone is going to go off, or during the day you might say, right, I'm available from 8:30 till 5:30 Monday to Friday. And again, you can put this on your WhatsApp business so everyone can see it. They're my available hours. Outside of that, the phone's off. If it's an absolute emergency and it can't wait, here's the emergency contact number. This is who you need to get hold of. And that will be, it could be like a 24-hour switchboard, like if it's a maintenance emergency, and then they might have the emergency trades to get hold of, or they might even have your private number, so if there is an emergency they can get hold of you. Equally, those of us have got a broader team. You might have a PA or an EA that's your emergency contact, or even a life partner. So if it's suitable that your life partner is the emergency contact for your team, whoever's most suitable, somebody that in the case of emergency either is going to be available on their phone so that they can get hold of them and then they'll get hold of you, or somebody that has your private phone number so they can get hold of you, if that makes sense. So if it's your partner, you'd be living with them, they could call your partner, you're quite likely going to be with them, or at least they can get hold of you, or your EA who's got your private number and in case of emergency can get hold of you. So we're going to put the availability times up, the in case of emergency, confirm the date that it's going to be off, and this is where we need to shift gears, and this is where it's going to get a bit challenging when we go into the 3 phases of transition from where you are now to where I am now, and the really awkward, difficult bit that goes in between. A good sort of top tip here is if you're or when you're thinking about doing this, and you might have that mental block, that limiting belief, you have to be available. Trust me, and from doing this myself, and also my team now all have work phones, and seeing the board members on Property Entrepreneur do it, I guarantee you it's a win-win-win for everyone, but it might be difficult in your mind to get it. This would be one of those blueprints you want to share with your senior team, your friends, your family, the people, or perhaps more so people in work, the people that you think would expect you to be available 7 days a week. Share this with them and encourage them to adopt the same strategy and the same mindset, because when we work, when we play, and if we have the time to relax, refresh and recharge, as I'm going to talk about, Sunday night you'll be going to bed, you'll be twiddling your thumbs, you'll be ready to go raring, and just from having that space, you can then go all guns blazing on the Monday. So share this with them, encourage your business partners, your senior team, maybe even your team to do the same, your clients to do the same, and it's exactly what I've done. And just trust me, it's one of those that you might not believe in, but just trust me, it absolutely works, and they'll all thank you tenfold. So the 3 phases of actually this transition. So deadline days come, we've got to that first Friday night, and we're about to turn our phone off. So what we're going to do is turn our phone off. Ideally, obviously, don't leave anyone hanging, but if you can get into the rhythm of sort of clearing down your WhatsApp before the weekend, I'll talk about why that's important in the next phase. But phase 1 is going to be deadline day. Turn that phone off, or turn off the SIM card, however you're going to do it. Put it in the drawer. And now you're going to have the first weekend with no business phone, nobody messaging you on WhatsApp, no team, no clients, no tenants, and you're going to disconnect. You're going to go cold turkey. And honestly, it's going to feel really weird. You're going to feel like you're missing out on stuff. You're going to feel like the world's ending and you don't know about it. You're going to feel like people need to get hold of you. They have to get hold of you, but they haven't. Now, if you haven't told them that you're going to be off, it's going to be a problem. But the thing here is you told them the date, you reminded them as it came up, maybe sent a courtesy message out to everyone that's relevant to say, guys, just remember from this Friday, the work phone will be going off from 5 p.m. And I'd encourage you to do the same. And you're going to have this cold turkey. And it's probably going to feel like the longest weekend. And you're going to feel like you've lost a limb. You've probably heard people talk about when they lose their phone, they have this sort of missing limb syndrome where maybe you lose a limb, but it feels like it's still there. You have this missing limb syndrome where you feel like you should be impulsively or compulsively checking messages, checking emails, doing X, Y, Z. And it's going to be really awkward, really difficult. And you might have a couple of false starts. You might be, do you know what? It's fine. I'm okay. I actually like my work phone. And you turn it back on, but that's really a false start. You reassure yourself, the world hasn't ended, and you get back to it. But it's going to be awkward, and you probably have that for the first weekend. The first weekend, you actually go real cold turkey, and as you hear me say this, and I say it, it is as pathetic as it sounds. As long as you've got the provisions in place, you don't need to be available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and you're going to break through this first phase. and then you're going to be into the rhythm of it. And it's like, all right, great. And actually what you realise is you'll turn it off on Friday. You'll have a great weekend doing your thing. You probably won't even think about work, ideally, and you'll get some proper headspace. And I guarantee you, by Sunday afternoon, you'll have loads of ideas. You'll be twiddling your thumb. You'll be ready to go all guns blazing. And then Sunday night, you'll go to bed, wake up, and you're ready and raring to go. You haven't spent all weekend answering work messages. You haven't spent all weekend in Slack, on WhatsApp, and all of a sudden, you're ready to go again on a Monday. That's the sort of phase one. That you believe in it, you get it done, you get through that awkward first couple of phases, and then right, we're now rolling. Phase 2 is where you've got used to it, so you've got that cold turkey out of the way, but now you've got this really awkward period. Now, if you don't action this using this blueprint, it will probably take you 6 months, and maybe you'll never really get the clear circuit breaker you need. What we want here is a clean break. So you've got used to it. You've got that awkward first couple of weekends out of the way. And what you've realised is you're starting to wake up on a Monday and all of a sudden you've got a huge backlog from the weekend. And because you've not budgeted any time for it, it chases you all the way through the week. You never really get caught up. People start to chase you for things. And what you want to do is start to put a system in place to figure out how you do that. So maybe go for a walk on a Monday morning and you just rattle through all of your messages. And what you realise as well, like when you go on holiday, again, this is the same blueprint you'll use when you go on holiday. Turn the phone off, put it in the drawer, make sure everyone's got the emergency contact and don't go to it. Messages, emails, WhatsApps, Slacks, it's like whack-a-mole. The more you're in there sending messages, the more they come back. Whereas when the phone's off, you don't come back to the 10,000 messages you're expecting because you haven't sent the responses. It's only X amount of messages from X amount of people. So the first, you're going to start realising it becomes a bit of a negative. Like, oh, well, now I've got a backlog. I've got to catch up on things. Or perhaps you're realising you've got stuff on your work phone that you needed, so you're turning it on to get on your banking app. What you want to do is when you get to that phase where you've broken... You get to that phase where you've actually had the clean break and you've got through that awkward phase 1. Phase 2 is to get strategic. It's like, right, what is my strategy and solution for this? What apps do I actually need on my private phone? And what ones do I need on my work phone? And then what you'll do is obviously download those. You'll start to share your private number with people. And this will be people like your friends, your family, things like that. Also, you'll start to move in and out of WhatsApp groups. So you'll know that on your work phone, you've got a family group from the holiday you forgot about and people have started messaging. So you say to the admin, can you remove me from this group and add me in on this? This is my new private number. And then you do that. Now, if you do this sort of organically and casually, I guarantee you it'll take months, or you may never even really break loose. You need to sort of dedicate a few weeks to being like, right, I need to move that app across, and maybe set yourself a second deadline of like, right, over the next 2 weeks, I need to get all of this moved across, and book out a couple of mornings or afternoons or when you're laying on the sofa and just do that deliberate split so you can have a clean break from between the two phones. And that's phase 2 really. You've got used to it and now practically you need to come up with a few solutions, do the actual carving up and the clean break, and then that's job done. And then what you'll really get into, and this will be probably after, if you follow the blueprint and do it as I've suggested, after about 4 weeks, you will then be into phase 3. And this is literally living the dream. What you'll find is when you work. So, you turn your work phone on at 8 a.m. or if you do Zen till 10, which is one of the things we do on Property Entrepreneur Advanced, the phone comes on at 10. And in my calendar, it says phone off by 6. No, not using, last year it was 2. This year it's 6. After 6, no phone, no messaging, no WhatsApp. Of course, there's exceptions to the rule, but the general rule of thumb is that. And what will happen is you'll just start to live the dream. You'll really enjoy it. You'll find that you go to bed and you're not working all the way to the time you go to sleep. You're not waking up in the morning. The first thing you read is work emails. You've got work phone and you've got private phone. You've got going to work and working, and you've got the evenings and weekends when you work, and when you play. And what you'll find is at work, you'll be more motivated, you'll be more driven, you'll be more focused, you'll be in and out, you'll be far more productive because you've got those start and end times. Equally, the weekend, you'll have a proper weekend. You're not constantly thinking, I better check WhatsApp in case there's been a message in that group, or I wonder what, I'll have a quick look in my email because I've just seen a notification go off. You'll be present with your husband, your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your kids, your family, your social life. And it will just create this real beautiful sweet spot. When you're at work, you love being at work, because when you play, you love playing. And it will just create this huge, great new experience for you. I would highly recommend, this is one of those blueprints which you'll listen to. I'm sure it'll make logic, but you think, this doesn't apply to me. I have to be available, X, Y, Z. Well, that was me 12 months ago. And now I'm telling you 12 months the other side. Not only am I doing it and have I done it, I've also got my team to do it. So all of my senior team now have work phones, and I've also taught it to my clients, who you might think, your clients will want to get hold of you at the weekend. Well, when they understand that it's such good value to me, I want them to do the same. And then I ask them, how's it going? They're like, it's amazing. I'm present with my family. I'm enjoying time with my kids. And I come to work on Monday, ready and raring. I haven't spent all weekend sweating over emails that have come in that I can't do anything about till Monday. It's a new world. It's a new life. It's not for everybody. You do need to have got through those first phases of the gears. Some of you will be like, I love working 7 days a week. Of course you do. You're a young entrepreneur. It's new to you. It's exciting. It's novel. It's sexy. When the fun stops, stop. When having access to you 7 days a week is no longer exciting, then's the time to draw the line. I guarantee you will be a much better person personally and professionally. A couple of top tips before we finish. The first is trust the process. If the timing is right for you and you think this is, perhaps you're starting a new young family, or perhaps you've got where you wanted to through the first phases of entrepreneurship and you now want to move to the next level of working on it rather than in it, just trust the process. Give it a spin. 4 weeks, you've got absolutely nothing to lose. The second is, as I've alluded, have a clean break. Set the date you're gonna draw the line. Appreciate you're gonna have a couple of weeks of withdrawal, a couple of weekends of withdrawal symptoms, a couple of evenings of withdrawal symptoms, and everything will rebalance. And then have 2 weeks of moving everything across, but don't drag it out. Don't be 3 months in, 6 months in, and still having to have 2 phones because your banking app's on there or X, Y, Z. Clean break, get it done, turn the phone off, put it in the drawer. Logically and compulsively, you just don't need it by that point. And then finally is, of course, we're all human. You're going to see the benefits of this after about 2 to 4 weeks. You're going to really enjoy it. And then you're going to forget all the frustration and pain of doing work stuff at weekend. Start loving work so much. You start turning your phone on again at the weekends. And then it's the beginning of the end. It's the beginning of the problem coming back. It's the same as anything. Any bad habit. It all starts with a slippery slope. So when you fall back into those bad habits, the work phone is staying on later in the evening, perhaps you are turning it on the weekend, just get back into that habit. And having been riding solo this week at home, I have been working later into the evenings because I love it. It's really exciting. It's fun. I'm allowed to because I've got nobody at home that telling me that I need to get off my laptop. It's like, I've loved it, but also I'm like, this is novel and that's why it's fun. But it doesn't need to become normal. So it's Friday. I'm recording this Friday. It'll go out to you on Tuesday. Friday, today, I'll be turning the phone off, getting back into the good habits, ready for my partner to return over the weekend, and then normality returns next week. So when you catch yourself falling into those bad habits, catch yourself, reset the bar, and do it quickly. Because obviously the downside is if you don't do it quickly, people are going to start getting used to this new expectation that you are available. And that's not part of the game. Hope you've enjoyed this blueprint. If you want to make sure that you don't miss a single blueprint, my mission this year is to give all of these blueprints away for free. Every Tuesday, you'll get a new blueprint. And my recommendation to you is if it sounds like the shoe fits, then absolutely try it on. And if it fits, go on and put it into practice. And every week, you will get a new one of these blueprints. If you don't want to miss a single one, make sure whichever platform you listen to this on, Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, click the subscribe button now. And if you get a chance to drop a review on, it'll only take 10-20 seconds. Really appreciate the support, whether it's a 5-star, 4-star, whatever you think we deserve, or even a little written testimonial or feedback if you are so inclined. Thank you very much for joining us for another episode of the official Property Entrepreneur Podcast. Next Tuesday, I believe, will be the final one in my home studio, and then we're going into the new video studio. We're leveling up. We're taking 2023 to the next level, and I very much look forward to sharing the journey with you. Remember, success and failure are both very predictable. Get yourself a private phone this week and try the Bat Phone Blueprint to separate work and play and make yourself a much better entrepreneur, a much better leader, and a much better person, both personally and professionally. I'll catch you on the next episode.